Good morning, fellas, and welcome back to the channel. I want to thank everybody who's been watching and all the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. So this is going to be a follow-up video in regard to the breaker removal that I did. I had removed this 400 amp breaker from a switchgear panel and brought it here to this location because I will be installing, or somebody will be installing, this 400 amp panel, which went to a piece of equipment, but the equipment got relocated. So this 400 amp panel and this 400 amp breaker, basically this 400 amp breaker feeds this 400 amp panel, disconnect panel, and this disconnect panel will feed that piece of equipment. But there was a lot of variables that went into just getting to the point to remove this breaker, and there was a lot of planning and investment that went into it, because it's, even though it may seem that it was just a simple breaker removal, a lot goes into it. And I want to kind of show you guys what that looks like behind the scenes, not just what you see on the video. So it's very important, these numbers and ratings that get dealt with, and part numbers to fill these blank spaces, because this is a system and it needs to work together, and you do not want to have open face plates here. And also included in the system is the parts and hardware. Now that's not something that somebody's gonna have to kind of deal with every single day, unless you're a electrical C10 electrical contractor and you're turning out jobs like these all day long. But usually once this part of the building and equipment gets installed, it's gonna sit there for some time, and this is out of sight and out of mind. So when you do have to come back to this portion of an install, a removal, or whatever the case, a repair, you got to know what you're doing, because this is the main switchgear for an entire building, and a lot of things could go wrong, which will affect, production processes, whatever, let alone life and safety. So the first thing that I want to recommend to everybody is get to know who the manufacturer of the panel is, and that's the most important part, because knowing the manufacturer of the panel, you're going to know who to go to ask for parts. In particular, like somebody had left a comment, and that's pretty much why I'm doing this video. Somebody had left a comment saying, why did you remove the finger kit from that breaker, and why didn't you just leave it in? And the reason I removed the finger kit is not only because is this finger kit and this breaker gonna get installed into this slot right here, but if somebody else was to go install another breaker in there, they're gonna have to remove the finger kit, because here's the deal, each one of these breakers is a different size frame. So this breaker is about a 5-inch, this breaker is about a 4-inch, this breaker is about a 3-inch, and this breaker is about a 2.5-inch, or whatever, etc., etc. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different size breakers here. Now on the back end of that, on the bussing part of that, you have a finger kit, and that finger kit will be split. Now this is a single and this is a double. So this actually has 2 finger kits running off of it. This has one, and this one would have 2. So there's a bunch of variables that matter. So the main thing would be to identify your GO number and your item number. Your GO number and item number are the 2 most important numbers when it comes to ordering parts from these for this switchgear. But the manufacturer does do you a favor, and they go ahead and give you breakers and breaker sizes, and they give you connector kits and a catalog number. Now I printed out the manual for this guy because I wanted to know all the ins and outs on this thing, and and that's what went involved into my planning, and the planning to get this new slot ready for that breaker. And it's very important, boys, very important. So I won't be doing that install. I believe an electrical contractor will be doing that install, but I'm getting everything ready for them to make their job smooth and easy. So anyways, here is the manual for this breaker, for this big switchgear. So this switchgear is actually broken down in 3 sections. This is section 1, and this is where all your breakers go. This is section 2, and this is where your main shutoff is. And this is section 3. This is where the power comes in from the power company. The power comes in up from underground, goes into here, and powers this breaker, and then this breaker powers all the busing that is behind there. So section 1, section 2, section 3. It's very important that you know your section that you're dealing with when you're trying to order parts for this GO number. So anyways, these are some style big switchgear styles that they have. The actual style that we have here is a PRL 4X or a PRL 4, and this is a 1200 amp service. Okay, so I say all that to say this: if you were to install a breaker into this service, and this isn't for everybody, but I putting it out there so everybody can read up on it and study and get to know that if you're in this field, what you may or may not be doing is very important. Lives are at risk here. The most important thing is to know all the ratings on your breaker. So this is a 600 volt breaker that's capable of 600 volts and the most important rating is this rating right here. This is your KIC rating. Your KIC rating, if this is the main breaker and your KIC is 65,000, then every single one of those breakers better have a KIC of 65,000. Now the part number for this breaker is HJD65K. They included it right in the model number because they don't want you to get it wrong. If this number is lower than the number on that main breaker, that breaker will explode and take out everything in this panel. So you want that number to be as high as that. And that is probably the most important part if you were to order a breaker for this. Now, this breaker, this switchgear panel is an Eaton Cutler hammer. And for right now, all the breakers are Eaton Cutler hammer. Let's say, for instance, this breaker is an HJD, and this is probably a 200 amp, 250. So you're gonna look for a HJD here, and here is your HJD single, HJD twin. Now this is giving you the connector kit, and then yeah, that will be the connector kit and maybe the cover plate. So that is for a single, which would be like that, or a twin, which would be like this. So these are the kind of things that you'd have to be aware of. Very important, not very hard, but definitely very important. And this is the page that I referred to when it came to ordering all the parts for this bad boy. It gives you all your little finger kits and all your little extension brackets and your screws and your little you know, grounding bars and lugs. And the other thing is torque ratings, boys. When you're taking one out, okay, it is what it is. But when you're putting one in, be very sure that you pay attention to your torque ratings and always have a torque wrench. If you show up without a torque wrench, and I'm gonna have some questions, you know what I mean? Saying I'm ready to put this breaker in. Yeah, I don't think you are. So right here is a good reference guide to what you need and all your torque values. So use this guide, use this information that is printed on the front of these panels if you ever find yourself in this position to where you're going to be installing or interacting with these types of units, even these types of units. It's all the same thing. There's going to be an interrupt rating on these breakers, and if there is a main here, you better have that interrupt match this main. So it's just a little something to pay attention to, boys, to keep yourself safe out there. And use your manuals, read up on them, and get to know them. And if you're somebody new into the industry, you're not going to get paid to read this. You're going to have to do it on your own, and you're going to have to do it for free. But I'll tell you what, it will be invaluable for you. Invaluable. So this is a twin right here for a breaker. This is a twin. These are the finger kits, etc., etc. It gives you all the information and everything that you'll need to know. You're going to have to read this book pretty much from start to finish and get to know it, boys, to keep yourself safe out there and to keep everybody else safe and not cause whoever your company or your boss is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and downtime and parts and equipment. So I just wanted to let the person who commented, which was a pretty good question, why did I remove this finger kit? I removed this finger kit because when this breaker gets installed, this finger kit goes with the breaker. This finger kit goes with the breaker, because if I was to install a different frame size breaker or a different model, this breaker is a HKD. This breaker is an HJD. Two totally different frame sizes. They use two totally different finger kits. So that's why I removed the finger kit, and I appreciate the question. Very good question. And I just wanted to kind of jump on here real quick, guys, and explain it out. That way everybody kind of understands what was happening there. And yeah, that's pretty much it, boys. I just want everyone to stay safe. And if you will be working on this, or if you feel like you're going to plan to work on this, I would veer against it if you don't know 100% what you're going to be doing or what you're doing and everything involved. So I really appreciate it, guys. I appreciate all the views and all the interaction. Stay safe out there, and if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and smash that. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Stay safe out there, boys, and have a good day. Thank you.